Hare Krishna. Welcome to all devotees who are joined for the Gita Daily program. Thank you very much for joining. So we'll get started in the interest of time. I think people are still joining, but let's get started. Hare Krishna. So I will share my screen. Hare Krishna. I hope the screen is visible to everybody. Can somebody confirm?
Yes, it is visible.
Okay. Okay, so let us start by praying to the Lord for the blessings so that we can understand the Bhagavad Gita. So Jagannath Baldev Subhadramaya Sudarshan Gauranitai. We seek their blessings before we proceed. Let us start with the prayers. Please try to repeat after me. You can be muted, but you can repeat. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhudale Srimade Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So we'll seek the blessings of our founder Acharya, His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Due to His mercy, we are able to understand Bhagavad Gita in a very simple and practical way. So let us recite. The today's sloka is 2.1. So the verse I will repeat. I recite. Please repeat after me. Sanjay Vacha तं तदा कृपयाविष्टम् अश्रुपूर्णाकुलेक्षणम् विषीदन्तम् इदं वाक्यम् उवाच मधुसूदनम्. One more time we'll repeat. Sanjay Uvacha तं तदा कृपयाविष्टम् अश्रुपूर्णाकुलेक्षणम् विषीदन्तम् इदं वाक्यम् उवाच मधुसूदनम्. Translation by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. Sanjaya said, seeing Arjuna full of compassion, his mind depressed, his eyes full of tears, Madhusudana, Krishna, spoke the following words. We'll see the word to word meaning. Sanjaya Uvaja, Sanjaya said, Tam unto Arjuna, Tada, thus, Kripaya, by compassion, Avishtam, overwhelmed, Ashrupurna Akula, full of tears, Ikshanam, eyes, Vishidandam, lamenting, Idam, these, Vakyam, words, Uvacha, said, Madhusudana, the killer of Madhu. So I'll stop the sharing and then so that you can focus on the hearing. So today's sloka is 2.1. I think yesterday we discussed 1.1, which was the first sloka of Bhagavad Gita. So we will just understand the context of today's sloka. So in the first chapter of Bhagavad Gita, basically the context is set where Bhagavad Gita is spoken. So Arjuna, all the people, warriors were assembled in the battlefield. Arjuna actually asked Krishna, who is the charioteer, to bring the Ratha or the chariot to the middle of the both armies. So that Arjuna wanted to see who are the people who have assembled in the battlefield, who are eager to fight. Then Krishna brings the chariot to the center. And when Arjuna observes the army on the other side, he see that many of the people who are assembled, many of the great warriors who are in the front line, they were all familiar personalities. They were either his relatives, they are his friends, or his teachers. Especially when he saw Bhishma Dev, who is like a grandfather, and Dronacharya, who was his teacher, he felt great compassion for them because they are actually, he is very affectionate to them, and the thought that he has to kill them in the battlefield, when he thought about it, Arjuna became very much compassionate to them. Then Arjuna gives various reasons that why he did not want to fight the battle. So many of them were logical reasons, based on logic. He actually argued that it is better to go to the forest and beg rather than killing all the relatives and friends who have assembled. So normally this kind of compassion is not very befitting for a kshatriya, because Arjuna is a kshatriya and he has fought many battles in the past, and he has killed like many of his enemies, and never he Arjuna experienced such a compassion, such a situation in the past. So we have to understand that rather than Arjuna's weakness, it is more an arrangement of the Lord that Arjuna is put in such a condition so that this Bhagavad Gita knowledge can be imparted. So Arjuna gave various logic and tries to give his own arguments, but finally Arjuna comes to the point that he actually surrenders to Krishna. He says that I am not able to decide, I am confused, my intelligence is confused, and I am surrendering unto you, Krishna. Please advise me. So until one important point we have to understand that unless until we surrender to a authorized authority, the real knowledge cannot be acquired. So this is one lesson we can understand from this Arjuna's lamentation and situation. And the other point is, yes, Kshatriya Dharma actually is, as per Kshatriya Dharma, a warrior is never supposed to run away from the battlefield, right? So he has to execute his Kshatriya Dharma. That is one thing. Then the word Madhusudana, which is used in this sloka, is also significant. Madhusudana means the killer of demon, Madhu. And Arjuna, in the Arjuna's mind, the demon of doubt has arisen. So Sanjaya used the word Madhusudana to indicate that Krishna is going to soon kill this demon of doubt, which is arisen in Arjuna. So similarly, in our life also, we have various demons. Like it can be the vices like Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Mada, Matsarya, right? Like similarly, the doubt is also. So these doubts and other demons which arise in our mind can be destroyed by the knowledge of scriptures. So we'll move forward. So here, one important thing we have to understand: what are the key concepts we can learn? Is that sometimes, in our life, when we face with crisis, we always our thought becomes more narrowed. We have a more narrowed vision, and we are not able to think from a broader perspective. Especially when we are under tremendous pressure or stress. So here, one important concept that we have to understand is that so Acharyas mentioned that there is no point in saving the coat of a drowning man. Like think that a person is drowning in the ocean, and somebody who comes to help somebody comes in a boat and tries to help him. And if he tries to save the coat or the dress which he is wearing, right, it is not of any value. So what we have to understand in our context is, when Arjuna is seeing Krishna is going to give this knowledge. I think we will see this knowledge in more detail in the coming sessions. But Arjuna is just seeing the bodies of the people who are assembled on the battlefield. But Krishna tries to point to him that these are all actually not the body. Necessarily, they are not the body, just the body. They are the soul or the Atma, which is eternal, which can never be destroyed. Right? You can never kill the soul, but you can kill the body. So when we show compassion, when our compassion is at the bodily platform, it is actually superficial. And if we are really compassionate to other living beings, we should see the beyond the body, which is a temporary designation, which is like a dress. And the real soul, the real person is the Atma. So whenever, if we want to really eternally give a permanent help to someone, we should do that at the spiritual platform, not at the bodily platform. So fundamentally, there are two concepts, right? Which is the body and the soul, or the matter and the spirit. So that which we see with our senses is the matter, and that which we cannot see with the senses is actually the spirit, right? So these are the things we will see further as we proceed. And then another important concept we have to understand is that whenever we are in dilemma or challenges, we should always seek guidance, right, from a authority, especially the authority which is based on scriptural knowledge or Vedic scriptures is more reliable or more eternally and long lasting. So these insights which we get from spiritual knowledge is from a much more broader perspective. It's more holistic. Okay, so let's move on. So one important another one small story kind of anecdote we can understand in this scenario, or it's a more like an analogy, is sometimes like we can see that now Krishna in the coming shlokas, Krishna will chastise Arjuna, because though Arjuna spoke like a learned person, but his thoughts and his perspectives was more from a temporary bodily concept, and Krishna will point Arjuna's understanding and knowledge to a more spiritual level. Now he elevates his understanding to a higher level. So this chastisement which Krishna does to Arjuna uh, is actually sometimes necessary. It's just like sometimes a doctor or a surgeon may have to conduct an operation, right? And sir, if the surgeon feels compassion for the patient, thinking that okay, if I do the surgery, the patient will have to undergo pain and suffering, is actually a narrow vision. When the surgeon looks from a more broader perspective, for the ultimate good of the patient, a surgery is necessary, right? So similarly, in our day-to-day life also, this concept situation comes that sometimes, for example, we have to chastise our children, right? And it may be temporarily painful for the child. Like even, for example, going to school, there is some difficulty for the child, right? Every day getting up early in the morning, going through troubles. So this temporary trouble and difficulty is actually ultimately meant for a long term benefit of the child, right? So similarly, we should whenever we are in different situation that we need to give advice or we have to take care of our subordinates, we should actually think from a more holistic and long term perspective. So, what are the key lessons that we can take? Is one I just mentioned. From a family perspective, how we can actually take care of our children or the people who are depending on us, right? So, we should look at a long term perspective. And from a personal perspective, sometimes what happens, emotions and attachment cloud our vision, right? Cloud our thought process. So, we should, based on the dependency on the higher knowledge, we shouldn't get overpowered by the emotions and other temporary challenges, right? But we should fix on our duty. So sometimes the duty come like most of the time, no, the duty is primary important, and we should have proper scriptural knowledge to overcome our temporary compassion or temporary challenges with respect to performing the duties, right? So this is one thing. And from a professional perspective, when we are in leadership roles or no there are dependent people upon us, again we should make our decision based on the principles and values, not not based on temporary no temporary situation. So sometimes we may be faced this kind of challenge that there may be some easy or shortcuts that we can take for no temporary benefit, but we should always weigh the pros and cons with respect to the long term benefit of the situation. So what are the things we learned today? Just to summarize today's session. So, though compassion is generally a good quality, it has to be guided by wisdom and not by attachment. Right. This is one point. Second point, when sometimes in life we feel situations which are very overwhelming, which actually we become confused or bewildered, or there may be kind of situation that we are not able to decide, like what is right and what is wrong. So, in such situation of bewilderment or perplexity, we should always seek out to a person, a guru, right, or to the Lord, so that we can be guided based on the correct understanding. So, yeah, so these are the key points today's discussion. Uh, so, with that, I think we come to the end of the discussion. So, are there any questions? So, you can either chat, put your questions in chat, or you can unmute and ask. So, our main session is over. So, if somebody wants to leave, they can leave. And anybody has any questions, they can either chat, put it in the chat, or ask. Or also, you can contact later actually on WhatsApp if there are further questions. So, I urge everybody to please join on every day at 7 a.m. And as I mentioned in the beginning, consistency is the key. So, joining every day help us to start the day with a very positive outlook. Should be able to face the challenges of the day very easily. Hare Krishna. Any questions are there? Any comments? Okay, if there are no questions, then we can end the session here. Thank you again for joining. See you all tomorrow. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Thank
Krishna,
you.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.